And before we go into the national dailies, let's have our guest. No, okay, my uncle, my co-uncle. I would have loved to introduce you as a guest one day.
I would love that, actually.
You're actually a guest right now because you came a bit late, so you have to share why you came a bit late.
And honestly, I'm trying to, ooze the funny parts to just laugh it off, but then I was really frustrated.
Yeah, that's why I said guest so that you can laugh.
I was really frustrated. One
thing I don't like your face.
Is, being late, even when you woke up super early.
Yes.
To make up time. So I think it was after getting here or on my way, I saw just one or two people running. I'm like, a marathon in the city of Abuja, and I'm not aware.
No announcement.
I don't know if they actually publicize it that much, but then it they blocked the whole road in the AYA
I've actually bumped into them as well.
So I had to literally follow, and there was a massive hold up there.
So you had to navigate.
You had to navigate my way, go through the Maitama Kubwa Road, and then take the roundabout, and then find a way. There's this new.
How did you find the way? Were you just following people?
I was no, definitely.
Or your instincts was just telling you follow here. That's why you are going to be a guest today. For coming a bit late, even though you have a good excuse. I was able to get some assistance from Google. Of course, there's a new passage. And it just led me back to Good Luck Jonathan. And then
I was really impressed. But that was when I saw people running the whole street littered. I'm like, at this point, I agree with the United States. There was a debate that people running a marathon should pay the government, because you're actually
winning. There's a prize. Yes.
So I feel like if you want to run, you should pay. Yes. I mean, they just distorted people's lives.
What kind of guest is this at this point? You're just being angry.
So it's really annoying.
Okay, so it's good to have you, actually.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, maybe you do us the honors of taking the front page of the daily, because it's always fun looking at you doing that.
Thank you.
I would have loved to do.
You're the best co-host. All right, yes, thank you for joining us. I am Sumaya Abubakar. Let's head on to the front page of the Daily Trust Saturday. The major story here says, years after schools hit by abductions remain closed. I mean, they're talking about a lot of schools here. We have some students relocate and others are out of school. We don't want our daughters far away from home. That's according to parents.
They have every right to say that. Indeed. With the whole abduction, kidnappings going on. What do you expect? I was actually going through the story and I was like, I can understand the plight of these parents, because it's not easy knowing your children are in the den of these abductors, and you don't know with all the trauma they may be going through and stuff like that.
So one of the school, of course, that
has been shut down.
Katsina State Science Technical Education branch or school there, but then it's Government Science Secondary School in Kankara, and there's a lot of schools like that. When you echo the situation that happened in Zamfara and all of that, and Chibok even, the secondary school. So
because it's a government school, so it's a but even at that, the children, yes. So the children in that access should be able to, access the government school, because there are certain schools that they don't pay school fees to an extent.
So which is free education in some places.
Free education. So
and it's really sad.
We hope that they will reopen.
To be done.
I'm sure it's after the abductors kept,
persistently
disturbing them that they had to shut it down.
Yeah, and of course the federal state government needs to do a lot, with the safe school initiative.
If there will be security, if there will be security mounted there, I think it's going to be easy so children can resume to school.
Should be. Every teacher, whether we like it or not, there's this agreement that when your child goes to a boarding school, it shapes the child, early. Well, moving on to inside politics, we have Ondo governorship. Meet those contesting for APC tickets today. You find that on page 25. I would have to wait and see how that unfolds. Drama as Rubutun Shah, that's the tea bags, emerge in Europe markets. You find that on page 8.
It's funny, actually, I don't really get it. Rubutunsha, the Rubutu that we know that they write on the slate.
I
don't really get it. But this story would be interesting to see what's really they mean by Rubutunsha. And the caption in Hausa actually says what it means that we know, in the area.
But honestly, I can't even wait to dive into this. So definitely that's a topic that's really interesting.
Today I woke up with this, instead of saying North, I keep saying Ariwa. Maybe because of the Ariwa artist that is joining us. I don't know. Maybe I'm just excited.
And we can't wait. All right, moving on to what is happening outside Nigeria. We have Israeli drones downed after explosions heard in Iran's Isfahan. The writers are saying UN Secretary General G7 reiterates call for maximum restraint and condemnations as US blocks Palestine's first UN membership. You find that on page 4. I mean, it's already clear that the US stands with the Israeli. So I don't think it comes as a surprise, even though definitely there will always be a backlash, people coming on to say the US are too partial, coming out to show that much support. And it took a long while for them to call a ceasefire on, what is happening between Gaza and Palestine and Israel. And then right now it's shifting to Iran, which it's not something anybody should hope for. I mean, war is never the answer. It only brings mass destruction, loss of lives, more hatred, generational hatred that should or could have been avoided. All right, below the headmaster, we have a varsity student and 14 others killed in Plateau attack. I mean, Plateau State at this point, what are you people doing? You find that on page 6. It's not really disheartening.
It's not just Plateau State.
It's really disheartening. This
the killings, happening. The killings. The Borno. 2 days ago, 16 people died. About 20 were injured and hospitalized.
I mean, we're tired of hearing the sad news.
Yes, every day. So it's just everywhere. I don't understand. Are we doing what are the security agencies and doing at this point? Because
I mean, they most times you hear them coming out, the army, police giving
instructions
and accountabilities of exactly what happened, maybe through the week or the month.
Is that enough? Is that enough to secure the lives of
one of the major
people?
issues that have not been addressed yet is the number of the security agencies. There's still a lot of space to cover.
They keep recruiting. So what's really happening?
So funny enough, I don't think the recruitment has gotten.
I mean, it should give. There should be enough military, army. Spread across the states. Carrying out. If it means every community, there should be tons of military personnel there, doing their stuff.
I think that's why they are pushing for the state policing. Remember, we talked about it.
I can't wait for that to be implemented. It's taking too long. Maybe that would have cut down this rampant killings that keeps
another drama that has happened all through this week.
I was in the picture of everything.
Segment. Yes,
season 1, part 1.
I can't believe she's naming it based on season. Is it a?
Oh, that's how he actually captioned it. That's what I'm telling you. I've been
Okay,
he actually season 1, episode 1.
I went under the radar, and it literally took someone to ask me what is happening with the actor Adam Ezango. I'm like, huh? Oh, actor and musician. Let's give him his credit.
Yeah.
Well, there is a social media outburst that sets Kannywood on fire. He made a lot of outbursts, and later on we saw a lot of people coming out to defend him. We saw Ali Nuhu, I think Maria Booth. But then Ali Nuhu is the big voice of Kannywood.
And I think
we reached out to him, and he's fine.
He's fine.
It's just a frustration that has been harboring, in his mind,
his heart,
which I can relate to Adam.
He has actually been
as a
quiet.
Human. Yes, as human. There are some times that when you tolerate things too much, and people that are close to you are doing a bit of gossips and all of that.
I know him. On personal level, so I know who he is because I have people that in the Kannywood that I'm really, really close to. He's actually a cool person. You hardly see him have issues with people that he would actually come out to bust the way he just did. So for him to have come out, it means he has gotten to that peak that he needed to speak. I remember a couple of years ago when he was accused of being, in some kind of activities that, nobody would want that kind of dent on their image, and he had to come out with a Holy Quran swearing that he's not that kind of person and all. For someone to go to that extent means that he is actually trying to prove that he's right. And he doesn't want his image because the whole world is going to. He's a famous celebrity. It's not like other people that are just quiet and doing their thing and nobody cares about their lives because they don't really put their personal lives out there. But if you're a celebrity, no matter how you try to hide your personal life, it will always come out.
And people are judgmental. And that's one thing about the whole social media. Now people came in, and even though I would have preferred, for his image, for him to not be the one to come out there. Perhaps he should have a PR, doing all this work for him instead of him coming out.
Nobody can speak for him more than himself at this
Sometimes,
point.
whether we like it or not. And I get
so
it.
he actually has people that have been coming out to defend him and speak for him. But, you know, for him to come out, everyone supporting him have been saying that he's not that kind of person.
Yeah, of course.
So for him to have come out, nobody is even pointing fingers at him because he knows.
One thing I wanted to clarify was people on social media that saying, you know, Adam Ezongo always comes out to
social media family.
Yes. And I'm saying this, that something would happen to celebrities and they're not expected to rant. They're not expected to voice that
they are human.
Yeah, you just
have feelings.
No, you're not. Everybody wants you to be Beyonce. Like, but then Beyonce has a lot of people defending her.
And she has her own problems as well, exactly. You know, with all the...
One of the major problem of Adam Ezongo is that he does not have a lot of people coming out to defend him. That is before his rant. Because one of the things he mentioned was that there are a lot of people that he has helped about him. Yes, and then that he had these people, they insult him or they create a narrative about him in the presence of these people, and nobody shut
and you know, the crazy part is the fact that the people you tend to help always turn out to be the ones that are always willing to destroy you behind your back, you know. And that is where, you know, that is what actually got to him, that he had to come out and speak. And then a lot of good people came out to say good things about him. This is the first time I'm seeing a lot of people from the Kannywood coming out to defend Adam Ezongo,
even though
for a certain reason.
We did saw some people also pointing out, you know, his fault when he made some mistakes, cutting off a bit of friendship. I mean, we saw Tijani Asase, producer, actor, doing that.
Yes.
Even though he said, you know, I still adore you, there is no bad blood, but then these are the things that you need to adjust. And we saw one of his ex-wife, which is the second, and she nobody even knew how, you know, before her coming out to make that decision. But then she said that he's a good person and all of that.
That's what I'm saying. You know, they are actually coming because he knows what is really affecting him in his home. Because, you know, if you look at what he is talking about, because I actually literally saw him tearing up a bit.
Yeah,
you know,
no,
so for you to see a man,
an emotional person.
Yeah, if you see a man tearing, then it means that it has really gotten to him.
Yeah.
So, you know, he came talking about what is happening in his personal life with his family. You know, and someone going behind, someone going behind to connive with your wife to be feeding informations about you.
Funny enough, I tell you, I want to give Adam two advice. One, you need to have a trusted person that you can vent your anger on than coming out on social media, because that is what the enemies would want you to do. Always come out and then look like the bad person on there. So look for someone really close to you that you trust and keep venting.
But, you know, sometimes it's necessary to come out.
Hold on. Secondly, that's why you need a PR. Adam Ezongo is a superstar, if not because of, you know, the whole Kannywood.
Yeah, he would have been more than where he is right now.
Better than this. And Adam Ezongo, you know, would have been one of the
I know. Back in Kaduna, when he's one of the. Well, how would I? You know, he doesn't pass on the street.
Exactly.
Yes, and so you don't see.
If at this point in his life he needs PR, he should just get PR managers that would just do this for him. They can dish out. When you hear reports and they tell you a bland item saying this, it's from PR. PR would tell the real story, but to feel as if it's not coming from your camp.
Yeah.
And then people will know exactly what is happening. So he could put it out there. There's a quiet report saying that his ex-wives and all of that are doing all of this, and that could work. Honestly, I feel he needs a PR, and also he should have someone that he could vent you know, from when it comes to all of that. But then, yes, these are some of the stories that you would get on the Daily Trust newspaper.
Okay, so let's take a look at Vanguard, Saturday Vanguard this morning. The major story there says, exchange rate, why prices of goods will remain high despite Naira appreciation. You can find that story on page 10. And Yoruba Nation, agitators misguided, seeking attention, Yoruba leader. You can find that story on page 8. Okay, Sumaya, I can see you looking into the screen when I said this. What do you want to say about it? Because it feels like you're thinking like.
Okay, I mean, there's been a bit of you know, drama going on in Yoruba land, and it's really disheartening. It shouldn't happen this way. First of all, these people would come and say we are advocating for our people, and then later on, you know, things just changed and they start creating nuisance to the society, and it's definitely something that nobody would blame the government if they decide to put
you know,
a stop
this shouldn't lead to something serious that, you know, I think if there's going to be any sort of conflict, it's better it's being resolved now that this is coming out.
Exactly.
So, you can take a look at the Vanguard this morning to page 8 and go through that story. BSc law only in Nigeria. You can find that story on page 26. Sumaya, another story again. So is this person saying that BSc law only happens in Nigeria?
No. I mean, first of all, there's been an argument. I know,
definitely.
So I definitely do not know. But then people say there is BA in law, not BSc law.
Yes.
And something caused it. If I can see where the story comes, is where, a pastor was asking someone for a testimony. I've forgotten the name of the pastor. It went viral. And the whole thing happened. And then she said she is a lawyer. She's a police officer, I think. And then she studied BA law. But then because she was, it was a big crowd, a big congregation. So I think because of nerve, she said BSc law. And then he called her out for lying publicly and insisted she was lying. But then later on, he said you cannot be, a law degree holder and then you speak like this, because she was battling with English. But then you and I went through university. We all know that there are people that are really smart, but then they are not really eloquent when it comes to speaking English. She later on defended herself. So it brought a lot of,
back and forth.
Where people are saying that, no, there's BSc law. And that's why they say, no, there is no, it's BA law. It's really a complicated situation.
Yeah, so you can go through that, story also on page 26 to see what the argument was like.
It's all about.
Yes. Okay. Okoma residents slam 200 billion suit against army.
That's really funny. I mean, the Nigerians in general should sue Okoma community, for what they did. Someone needs. Someone should provide.
Someone has to be accounted for.
That did
this. You can't blame it on the monarchs. Why are you blaming the monarchs?
I get really frustrated about all of this, honestly. First of all, we need to hold these people accountable, because these are youth. We keep saying they are the leaders of tomorrow. Imagine that person holding a public office. What would that person do? The life of Nigerians.
Yes.
If you can literally slit people.
Yes.
I mean, Nigeria, I think, should sue. It should be the state versus Okwama people.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You're just giving people a title right now. I won't be surprised to see a name.
I should go and do the BSc law or BA law.
It's BSc law you're going to do, because this is Nigeria. But then, BA law, actually. So, you can find that story on page 11. Army releases Delta Monarch Ikolo. You can see that, so, I just said why the monarch, it's actually, I don't know how you can accuse the monarch of having a hand, even though he presented himself to the army for them to interrogate him, and also.
Yeah, of course they would hold him. It's not that. I mean, we all know that there is always someone leading this people. So everybody is a suspect until proven guilty. So I guess he passed the test, and then they let him go. Okay,
so go through page 11. Stalemate as NUPRC awaits core ventures to conclude $1.3 billion ExxonMobil deal. You can find that story on page 7. And then above the belt, Ondo 2024 intrigues as Aidetiwa Jimo battle for APC tickets today. You can find that story on page 22. This whole politics thing back and forth with the election. I think today there's an election in Ondo.
Yeah.
So you can go through that story on page 22. IMF, why we asked Nigerians to withdraw oil subsidy. Nigeria to withdraw oil subsidy, I beg your pardon. A heartbreaking thing about Africa. You can find that story on page 6.
Nigeria do not agree with IMF at this point, and we know that IMF, is only thinking about IMF first, before Nigeria second.
So go through page 6. PDP crisis, how Atiku's plots against Damagun collapsed. Group tells him to retire, endorses Wiki. You can find that story on page 7. Yeah, I think Atiku should retire at this point. He has tried for Africa, Nigeria as a whole.
Has he tried for Africa?
Yes. Nigeria is the giant of Africa. So, yes, he has. Because they have gone through all those African countries too.
How many people? Perhaps the people of
when he was a vice president, they've gone around to seek partnerships with other African countries and even beyond. So yeah, they have tried during their time because I know, I actually know.
Okay.
So yeah, that's it for the Vanguard this morning.
Yeah. Okay. Let's quickly take a look at the Saturday Punch, where below the headmaster with the PDP crisis, only God gives power, Atiku tells supporters. I mean, who is in the better position to tell you that than Atiku? Obviously, God hasn't given him even after he tried a long time. So,
well, he's not the only one that's tried a long. Even Buhari tried.
You take advice from somebody who has seen it all.
Yeah.
All right. Beside the headmaster, we see how my wife died crying over daughter's fate in Boko Haram den. I mean, the father of abducted Chibok girl. Yes, we've heard the stories that some of the parents were heartbroken and they died because of that incident. We have federal government and agency blames multiple taxes and others for high cost of goods. Okay, yeah. So we know there's definitely multiple taxes, and restaurant owners have come in the past to complain about facing that kind of thing, and it's one of the major agenda of the federal government, saying, and this administration, of course, saying they are going to fight against that. We'll have to wait and see how that, pans
out. Yeah.
The major story is saying police detain Yahaya Bello's ADC security details. Former security aides may face orderly room trial for not arresting ex-governor. The FCC appeals order stopping Bello's arrest and seeks stay of execution. Drama unfolding in Kogi State. You find that story on page 4. I mean, we cannot really speak on that until how far we see the the alleged crisis or crime that he committed. Would have to wait and see how the charges would pan out. How life-changing accident turned me to amputee. Ondo graduate says, a really sad one there. Reign of terror, Lagos black spots where hoodlums rob and assault citizens in broad daylight. This is the annoying thing about this thing. They are aware of the location, but nothing is done about it.
The crowd,
that is what
the crowd there is actually what's causing all that. Because even from the picture, if you check even online, you see the crowd.
Well, it's up to now the federal government to the state government rather to know how to create, a kind of a way that would definitely make the place less crowded.
To an extent, Lagos is kind of crowded as far as I'm concerned. So a lot of things would definitely happen.
Okay, I don't want to.
But have you seen the story of a guy that came out to confess how he has been robbing people inside the buses in Lagos? Did you pump into
and
that
they become
story?
Experts in that?
He actually came out to confess a couple of months ago.
That's really disheartening.
That was because he was caught.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
so
broad daylight robbery is, I think, to Lagosians or people in Lagos, whoever
really
they are. There are a lot of different tribes in Lagos.
But it's so disheartening, the fact that you see young, eligible, strong men and women, having to do this kind of things. When Lagos is one of the places that there is so much opportunity, except if you're lazy.
Do you know this thing happening has actually taken a toll on me to an extent, because you keep bumping into stories like that. 2 days ago, I was actually, waiting for a car to come, and then it got cancelled twice. I had to take the normal taxi. But anybody I see passing, no matter how young, old you look, I'm kind of
scared.
I'm trying to protect myself in any way I can.
Environmental conscious.
Because a lot of people that I know, this year have been attacked one way or the other. So, it happened to a lady, it happened to a guy, different guys, even here in the office, so it's just
of course,
sad.
You'll definitely be scared, and it shouldn't be so. I mean, a country should be safe for everyone. Well, quickly, musicians back EFCC say ban on Naira spray. Good. Okay. We have team musicians on that. I mean, for me right now, I feel it's a bit insulting. It's better for you to just give the person an envelope and say, this is my gift for you. And lastly, we have why 3,504 inmates on death row haven't been executed, says the NCOS. Yes, I think at this point, everybody is pro-life, saying that we shouldn't kill people. Instead, we should just give them maybe life imprisonment, but then stop killing people. So, but then I do not know the reason why that the NCOS gives, so would have to, read pig the Punch and see how that unfolds. But then, yes, these are some of the stories that you find on Saturday Punch.
Okay, so let's take a look at Guardian this morning. Okoma killing, why army released detained Delta monarch. You can find that story on page 2. And then 172.025 members to elect APC Ondo Goba candidate as Aidetiwa Keredolu camp locks horns. You can find that story on page 29. SEC plans severe sanctions against unregistered digital asset operators. You can find that story on page 3. ICPC FIRS.
Okay, let's move on. We see ICPC FIRS partner to curb tax evasion, generate 1.9 trillion naira from public sector. Adoke wins as court dismisses money laundering charge against him. I mean, there seem to be a lot of money laundering charges against a lot of people. People siphoning, the government money to personal accounts and all of that. He passed this, he wins the court case, and yeah, well, good for him. At the end of the day, we don't want innocent people, feeling that. Quickly, Saturday Special says how poor enforcement of laws sustain child labor as modern slavery. And the Guardian woman is saying to be successful, women should surround themselves with those who champion their aspirations. Well, these are the stories you'd find on the Guardian newspaper this morning. And with that, of course, we'll take a quick break. And when we come back, it will be time to open the phone line to hear from you about something that everybody is guilty of at some point. Stay with us.